Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is Joey P, and with me, of course, is the Welsh, and it's you hanging out here talking baseball. We just did our all-sleeper team. Now it's time for the all-breakout team, and that is a very tricky word because everyone has different definitions of breakout performers. Just because you're a rookie doesn't make you a breakout performer for me. So I'm going to give you my definition, and then the Welsh can give you his. My definition is a player who's going to take his game to the next level this season, is going to make a huge fantasy impact this season. Sleepers can make minimal impacts, but overall end up helping you make the playoffs in a league or even win a league. I'm talking about guys that are going to give you potential 6 months of great production, guys who can take your team to the next level. And I think what's so interesting about some of the names on this list, not only are we going to probably have some overlap, Welsh, but we're also going to have some rookies, some post-hype guys, and also some players that might have been kicking around for a couple years that we think are ready to take the next step. So breakout really is in the eye of the beholder, but that's basically my definition. The players that are going to up their game significantly and therefore make huge impacts on fantasy rosters. Welsh, how would you define breakout candidates?
Yeah, no, I think you said it really well. The guy that's ready to take the next step. I think the thing that just gets taken away from the breakouts are obviously players that have had big seasons before. Like, there could be a guy that's had big seasons and maybe their ADP is low, but like maybe they just had the breakout, and like by technical definition, if we're saying they're going to take a next step, maybe they are going to take another step, but they've already broken out before. I might take out those players. Prime examples would be like Victor Robles. You know, Victor Robles is coming off of a really good season. I'm not sure I would identify him as like a breakout player. Bo Bichette would be another one of those. I think Bo Bichette is undervalued, and I do think he's going to bounce back from last year, so he's a bounce back candidate, but he's not like a breakout because he's had big seasons before.
Mine was Lawrence Butler, where I thought he had a really good year last year, or a really great stretch last year, but he's being drafted already, I think, a little, so highly. He's already a 20 player, basically. Like, that's already a pretty good player, already established player. I think there's another year he could be a little bit more.
Could he take the next step?
Sure.
Yeah. Same thing with James Wood is one I kind of struggled with.
James Wood's another one.
Because James Wood didn't have much of a season last year, but like he's already priced at a level that is kind of dictating his production. So like I didn't put him as a breakout, even though like I think he's going to have like a bigger season, and maybe he does beat that like rank and ADP a little bit. It just didn't fit that qualification of a guy that's, like you said, ready to take a next step from a tier of their value. ADP maybe plays, or valuation of rank plays a little bit of a role in this as well, because you look at a player and you're like, well, not only is this guy going to like have a big bounce on his season, it's going to like completely alter that that value of where he's being drafted. So I think you said it best. It's and I took the same kind of approach as you. It's guys that are going to take a bigger step, that next big step into a tier change of their fantasy value.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to see here is the ADP with some of those guys like Wood and Butler that we were discussing. It's already baked in that they are going to perform at a certain level. I feel like the guys we're going to talk about, it's not a sure thing that they're going to perform at a certain level, and I think that's what makes these guys so intriguing. Yeah. All right, let's get to the names on the list. Before we do, you like free stuff? Because we like giving it away. We've got a John Smoltz autographed jersey that we're going to be giving away very soon here on the channel. That's right, the Braves' own John Smoltz, and the little St. Louis Cardinal, too, if memory serves. PristineAuction.com, that's where the Smoltz jersey is from. The Hall of Famer autographed it himself, and it can be yours. All you have to do is subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB, our YouTube channel right now. Drop a comment below. Tell us who your favorite breakout player is of 2025. And just like that, poof, you might have this John Smoltz jersey on its way to you. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications till it goes ding, so you know every time a piece of content drops here on the channel, and we can notify you that you're the big winner of the John Smoltz jersey. And for the record, everybody, we're trying to get to 25,000 before opening day. We're getting very close. We can do it. Subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. Go ahead, Welsh.
Dude, well, I was going to say, it's funny enough. Let's see if I can move my shoulder right over.
Well, don't hurt yourself.
Right
I know
there.
you're older now.
Oh. Wait.
Yep.
Finger right.
I just see a lot of balls behind your shoulder.
This one right here. See that one?
Yeah.
That is John Smoltz. I was randomly at a spring training game when he was doing the MLB broadcast, and he was like on the outfield doing a broadcast, and I was like, oh my God, that's John Smoltz. Went and got a ball and like a black marker. What did I know? And went right up. And when he was done, he came out and signed for people. And that was I met John Smoltz one time, and I have that's like the little like Hall of Fame ball right back there, John Smoltz.
There you go. I could describe for the audio audience what you're doing to that ball, but
I was like, I'm like, it's right over there.
The fingers and the thumbs and the gesturing.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. If people,
John Smoltz, one of my all-time favorite pitchers, Joe. Even as a Met
memed.
fan, I love John Smoltz. Like, that guy's just a freaking animal. All right, hopefully some of these guys will be animals. Catcher on my list going as the 8th catcher, 149 off the board. Shea Langeliers. I love where he's hitting in this lineup. That's what it comes down for me. And I think that lineup placement is so important. I talked about it on the Sleeper Show too, for guys to be productive in fantasy. We don't discuss it enough, so I'm going to keep discussing it till, everyone's sick of me, and, we just started the season, so we're early. He's hitting cleanup in this lineup. Ahead of him is Butler, Rooker, Bleday. I love this situation for him. This is great. This is RBI central for him. He's got big-time power already. I love the change in ballpark. Everybody knows the Athletics, the Nationals. Those are my 2 sleeper teams this year that I think are going to be really pesky and annoying. So Langeliers is my guy. I believe he is going to take a big step forward, make an impact, and be a breakout player this season. Good cost, too, a catcher. Welsh, who's your catcher on your all-breakout team?
Well, he's also on my target team, targeting him because I think he's going to break out. It is Austin Wells with the New York Yankees, who is the 13th catcher, right around 208 as far as FantasyPros ADP. You guys want to go check out the ADP, go to FantasyPros. You can check on all the tabs from draft rankings, dynasty. You can also check ADP, which has a nice aggregate ADP of sites, and you can even mess around and kind of readjust them. Okay, so Austin Wells going outside of the top 12 catchers, 13 homers last season, 229. Average wasn't great. Really struggled against lefties, which is going to have to be fixed this year. He hit sub 200, 236. All of his homers came against righties. But positively this spring, he's hitting 355. He's already hit 3 homers in spring training. Half of his hits have essentially been extra base hits, and they're also committing to him. That's the big thing, is Trevino is out. They're committing to Austin Wells being the guy, and he is a big home run hitter. It's just he's got to tap into it, and that has been the problem. Strikeout rate hasn't been an issue, 21%. He walks double-digit percentage of the time. It's just making consistent contact. Around a 9% barrel rate. If he can barrel a little bit more, he can hit it. He can hit stuff quite a bit harder, and he's got to hit fastballs better. All things that I think can happen in a hitter-friendly environment. So listen, if projections work out and he beats expectations on it, you're probably looking at a 20-plus home run hitter at catcher in New York State in the Yankee Stadium. So I'm a big buy. I think Austin Wells is going to take that next step. I think he can push into being like a top 7 fantasy catcher this season. There's a couple guys that's going to be hard to beat, but Austin Wells is not only like a big, all target Welsh team, but I think he is going to take that next step, and he's my breakout pick for catcher.
All right, Welsh, give me your first baseman on your all breakout squad.
Oh, man, I talk about this guy a lot.
You do.
I really hope he does work out, because it's just going to, I'll just sweep it under the rug, but I talked a lot about Michael Toglia, and Michael Toglia is my pick here. He is the 19th first baseman. This isn't the all-sleeper team. This is the breakout, and at 174 overall, I really do think Michael Toglia is just batting average away from being massively fantasy relevant. And if you look at his stats, if you could have put a 250 average on his counting stats, everyone would be excited about him, because he hit 25 homers last year. He stole 10 bases. This is a big 6'5", like 240-pound first baseman, but he hit 218. His expected batting average, though, was 244. He also had some of the highest barrel percentages in the league at 17%, and some of the best hard hit numbers at 50%. Love it. He also walked almost 12% of the time. So what's the downside? He strikes out, and that has really hurt him getting into contact. But expected stats do tell us a story where he's a better hitter. He's hitting in Colorado, which is obviously and most blatantly a phenomenal ballpark to be hitting in, and just an environment to be in, is what I was trying to say. But he also doesn't have extreme splits. Brenton Doyle has extreme splits. Hit 300 at home, 200 on the road. Toglia's got about a 30 batting average difference between home and road. So I'm hoping he can hone some of that in. He can take that good end of the season where he hit 235 on the second half of the season, tap into that power, and be a 30 to 35 home run guy. So he is my breakout first baseman at, what did I say? First baseman 19 on the list.
Yeah, look, it's still a lot of upside. It's Colorado, it's power. I mean, in points leagues where I play, where you get the strikeouts kind of get you, it's a little bit more of a dicey investment, I think. But season-long roto, you're looking for power. That's a guy. I like power at first place too, Welsh. And I like a guy named Triston Casas, who hasn't quite had his breakout yet. Casas, I feel like, is a player that almost in some circles, last year, it's a lot of frustrations, there's a lot of expectations, and that's going to be kind of a theme of some of these players on this list. But Casas is going as the 105th player overall right now. And 2 years ago, he played 132 games, so not quite a full season, 24 homers, 65, right? So he's kind of in that mold. Now we're in a situation where I think the team around him in 2025 is going to be really the best one he's played with offensively. I think that's a big positive. The power we know is for real. It's just a matter of now playing every single day, being healthy, and getting those at-bats in. You see some of the names that are, coming up through this system too. We're going to talk about some of them, so I don't want to talk about them yet. But it's very exciting to think of the athleticism that this club's going to have when you have Jarren Duran already there and some of these other pieces that we're bringing. Rafael Devers' health is still something that I'm a little concerned with here. It's been a slow spring for Rafael Devers, which might be the right call. But when you're looking at Casas, you're looking at a big left-handed bat that's going to hit a ton of home runs in that ballpark. He's going to play in Yankee Stadium too. They made adjustments to the ballpark in Baltimore. All favorable hitting environments for him. And now also, you don't have to go to Tampa Bay to play those games either. Now all of a sudden there in the East, you're playing outside there too. So different situation for him. I think health is the most important thing. He feels like, going into the season, he is ready to go now. If he plays 155 games this year, I think Casas is going to hit 30-plus home runs, and that would be the big breakout, right? Being a 20 home run guy is one thing. The upside's there, Welsh, for 35, and that's why, to me, he's a breakout contender, because there's a world where this Red Sox lineup really takes off, and the Bregman addition's a huge help, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, the Red Sox win the East. And I think the Yankees right now are looking really shaky. You lose Cole, you lose Heel, you lose Schmidt. I mean, what this rotation is going to look like, I don't know by the time we get to June. But at this point, I know Cookie Carrasco I saw is going to be making starts for them. Yikes. Let's not go into that anymore. All right, let's go to the second baseman on my list here. And it's another post-hype kind of dude. It's Jackson Holliday, friend of the show. He was just a boy last year. What were we doing? I know I had reservations about Jackson Holliday, Welsh. I don't remember where you stood on him.
I never had reservations. I was
in,
hopelessly wrong because
I
was, just also because he was just this amazing hitter in the minor leagues. Apparently we needed to see some only against aggressive upper level breaking pitches data, but he hit for average. He had high OBP, homers, stolen bases, made really great decisions. I was all in and I was all wrong.
I was not all in on Holliday last year. And you remember, we had some conversations where I was like, look, I love the player. I think people are being too aggressive. Well, now they're being too lame. They're not being aggressive enough. He's the 184th player. Now, look, he was 190-something about 2 weeks ago. Now he's 184. Oh, wow. He's the 16th second baseman going off the board. He's made this adjustment, too. He's gotten rid of the leg kick, going with that toe tap, Shohei Ohtani style. Watched some clips about that on MLB Network, too. And you can see it's paying off, too. He looks good. I've gone out of my way to see Jackson Holliday at-bats this spring, and I just like the approach. So far, 314 batting average, 385 OBP, 870 OPS. He has a homer, a double, a triple. He's got 3 steals. He's been caught twice, but still the 3 steals is good. He scored 8 runs already, and that's in 12 games so far in spring training. I think Holliday has shaken the dust off of a weird thing. I don't think mentally you're going to break this kid. His dad was a big league player. I think he's used to the pressure. He's going to be fine, and now is the time to buy in. Welsh, who are you buying in on at second base for your all-breakout team?
I think it's a great pick. Probably would have picked it. We have a couple crossovers, but in not trying to cross over too many, that would have been a short list of mine. I am going to go with, what a horrible setup now that you think about it. From one second baseman I was all in on last year as a breakout to another rookie, or at least a rookie for this year like last year, except here's the deal. this guy does not come at the cost of where Jackson Holliday was going. He is almost free at this point. And the player we're looking at, this is the young breakout rookie look. It's Kristian Campbell, who is got an overall ADP of 288, and he is the 30th second baseman on the list. So this is cheaper than Jackson Holliday now. This is cheaper than most guys. Yes, he can push up in some instances in some leagues, but he's not pushing up into the top 200. Now, that could change the minute the team makes some type of commitment. And that's what this is all about. Kristian Campbell is coming off of, I mean, everybody, minor league player of the year, 20 homers.
Minor league player of the year. He's coming off the best minor league season of anybody, arguably.
But the juice, like, he moved up in so many circles so high, and he is being, kind of in a shadow a tiny bit for a lot of people of like Roman Anthony, who think he's going to be big. But I think there's the possibility that Kristian Campbell could be the best of all of the big four, as they called it. Kyle Teal now with the White Sox. 24 stolen bases, 20 homers last season. He hit .330 with an almost .440 OBP. And one of the biggest things to pay attention to here is this team has put Rafael Devers in the spot where he was so mad he's thinking about potentially asking for a trade because they want Bregman to be the third baseman. They could easily just put Bregman at second. They could have Devers at third, make everybody happy, and just kind of move on.
But it's not good for the team. He's led the league in errors at third base for 7 years at the position.
I agree.
I mean, come on.
And the team is not just acquiescing Rafael Devers. Not only is it a better defensive position to put Bregman there, but they are giving Kristian Campbell every opportunity to break camp. Made a great defensive play today. He's starting to hit.
Playing the outfield, and Abreu's banged up too, so that could open up a path. It's the outfield path that I'm so interested in when it comes to Campbell. Unfortunately, the bat is struggling at all this spring a little bit. We're only hitting 152 so far in the spring. I wish he was having a hot spring, but I don't know if he needs to do that to break with this club. Do you think he has to pick it up in this last couple of days here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there is the possibility that like they could be like, hey, we're going to have David Hamilton be the guy, and they could do that. I just don't think they will. I think they put themselves in a position, and I could be wrong. This might sound stupid after he's sent down, but like the PPI program, if they let him break and they keep him on the roster, they open themselves up to a first-round pick. He's playing great defensively. He's a more advanced bat than I think where Jackson Holliday was at that time. He's multi-position eligible. I think it makes all the sense in the world. So back to it, the breakout is there that I do think there could be some struggles, but I would liken this similar to maybe a Jackson Chourio where he might be slow in the first couple months, but if the team commits and stays to this commitment of him being on the roster as a second baseman, super util, that he can bounce back, and we might end up seeing something close to a 2020 season, and he is absolutely free. So he's the rookie that you can definitely bank on. That is not coming at the cost of some other rookies we are going to talk about or that other people are investing in. So my breakout is Kristian Campbell.
Now, last year, my breakout at third base was Junior Caminero. He's still my breakout at third base, but I want Welsh to talk about him instead because that's his guy this year. I've got another third baseman because we wanted to talk about more players on the show for all of your fantasy needs. So, Welsh, let's talk about Junior Caminero, your guy here, my guy here, someone we have big expectations for. I don't think he's going to let us down 2 years in a row.
No. Yeah, I mean, last year it didn't work out because we didn't see him. We were shocked. I mean, God, I remember doing so many
injuries,
of the leading off, by the way, coming. Like, we're doing specials for the Japan series and back next week.
Twitch.tv /FantasyPros. That's where you find.
You can watch it live. Or you can watch the videos here on YouTube, as always. But, like, we were shocked week in and week out. Junior Caminero's not up. He's not up. He's not up. He ended up getting, like, 165 at-bats. So this is the time. He went and played Dominican Winter League, where he was phenomenal. We saw the power going. We saw the batting average up. In his short stint in the majors, we saw two big key metrics. We saw phenomenal barrel, almost 12%, and we saw an over 45% hard hit rate. That also paired with low strikeout numbers, and that's what we want. He doesn't steal bases, so he's got to hit. And I think at this point, he's being put in a position where, I mean, clearly he's with the team, but like he's going to be hitting in the middle of the lineup. And I really do think that bat is going to thrive this year. I think he's going to push 25 homers. He is borderline between, like a cost and moving up. But I will say ADP, average ADP, it's low. It's at 94. That's the ninth third baseman. If everything works out and we get to see this version we've seen in the winter carrying over, Junior Caminero is going to move into probably close to a top 5 third baseman. He's going to push 25 homers. We'll see where the RBI and runs go, but I think he can also hit for average. I think Junior Caminero, like last year, we're going to double down on it, is your breakout third baseman.
Yeah, and I'm, again, very supportive. I'm investing. And I think the other thing you're going to find, too, is, we do a lot of these drafts with expert people, people in the business, other analysts and stuff like that. I think in your more casual drafts, Caminero, because of the injuries and the slow development, I think he will go closer to ADP. Whereas some of the drafts that we're in, sometimes like the analysts, the sharps, they want to go up a little bit higher and be more aggressive on Caminero. I don't know in the casual leagues if you're still going to find that. I think
he's all over the board. He could go as early as 50. He could go as late as 100.
If you want him, go get him is my advice.
Go get your guy.
And there's drafts where, like last night I was in a draft, I just went and got him because I was like, he's on the board. That's the dude I want. I could wait for Vientos another round or so, but you know what? I'm going to go with Caminero here. He's had a good draft. And after I took Caminero, Vientos went almost right after. So there you have it, everybody. All right, my third baseman here is Matt Shaw, the Chicago Cubs. Now, Shaw might qualify at some different spots potentially. We'll see where he ends up landing here with the Chicago Cubs. But a player we had Jeff Ponce on at the beginning of the year, and he spoke so glowingly about two guys, Kristian Campbell, and the other one was Matt Shaw. And I'm in agreement with him on both these guys. Matt Shaw, you look at what he did in the minor leagues, 303 batting average, 384 OBP, 522 slugging in 159 games. I mean, there's nothing left for this guy to learn. That's it. Like, this is it. It's time for him to come up and play. And I continue to think that the Cubs will be aggressive with Shaw because the Cubs are showing you they're aggressive. They went out and got Tucker. They went out and got Presley. They were aggressive on the market for Imanaga last year. That worked out for them. They can win this division, but they need players like Matt Shaw in the bottom part of this lineup. In fact, this lineup is going to have, my lineup here for breakout is going to have not one, but two Cubbies on it. We'll get to another one later on, but I think Matt Shaw is going to be a huge part of this offense. He's a guy who's got great contact skills. He's got power. He's very polished. The hit tool is terrific. You watch him, he looks like a ready-to-go, lock-and-load major league player, and I think he can hit the ground running. I think he is going to be in this mix for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Vegas thinks so. Most people do. But sometimes that fails. Like Jackson Holliday, I was unsure if he was quite ready last year. Matt Shaw, I don't have those questions about when I watch him. His approach is so good, it's so sound, that I think he is going to come in, kick ass, take names from day one, and I think that's going to be huge for this Cubs lineup.
One thing I want to add to this is because these aren't the last rookies you're going to hear us talk about. We got a couple more rookies that are coming up. And you can, rightfully so, you can ask this question, but guys, Jackson Holliday was such a big failure last year. Don't you want to maybe like pace back? And we're talking about Kristian Campbell, we're talking about Matt Shaw, which I completely agree with, by the way, and these other guys, but there's a difference that I think is going on here too. You see, of the two we're going to talk about coming up, you've got Kristian Campbell and you got Matt Shaw. You've got a lot more experience. You've got multiple guys who we're going to mention who have already had major league experience. You've got guys that have worked. You had the Premier 12 league for Matt Shaw. You've got guys that have been in camp for longer, that have been longer in the minor league system, I think, and you've got cheaper costs. Every single one of these guys we're talking about today is cheaper than what Jackson Holliday was last year. That you've got cost that's more relative to, I think, a little bit more pro-ready bats is why I'm more comfortable talking about as many rookies as we are, because I completely co-sign you with Matt Shaw here and the rest of these guys, just as a little aside.
And Shaw's not a big guy either. Like he's not like Cam Smith or some of these other guys that I love. They're like dudes, like Jack Caglione, who I absolutely love. And Welsh knows this from last year when we did the draft show last year when we were covering the MLB draft. I was like, geez. I mean, Pizzana was my number one, but Caglione was my two. Like, this guy's just going to smoke balls. And I can't wait to see him. He's going to be up there at some point, but probably not till July would be my guess. I think it's going to be a while for him. They're going to let him get at least 100+ at-bats, I think, down in the minor leagues. But with Matt Shaw, again, it's approach, whereas Holliday, to me, Holliday was so much just that raw ability, that raw athleticism, that raw baseball stuff, right, where that just needs a little more fine-tuning. That's not the thing for Shaw. And it's actually, if you ask me, hold my feet to the fire, Campbell or Shaw, who has the better year, I probably would put my investment in Shaw, to be honest with you. I think like he is just a little bit more polished, whereas Campbell has that little bit of that Mookie Betts thing where it's just such a great athlete. Just kind of pushes the envelope. He could do so many special things, but again, when you get to the big leagues and you face that other kind of pitching, things change a little bit, and not everybody adjusts as quickly as they should. Shortstop, for me, it's a guy that teased a couple years ago, and now he's back, and he's back with a vengeance, baby. It's not John McLain, it's Matt McLain. And Matt McLain is, I think a guy that people just have forgotten about, which proves it because you look at the ADP, he's still going outside the top 100, basically, somewhere around there, around pick 96 in some other scenarios in NFBC where people are a little bit more aggressive as they should be. Now, Matt McLain, so far, played AFL. He's playing in the spring. He's healthy. That is a very athletic lineup. This is a player that has, I don't expect him to hit for as high of an average as we saw a while back, but I think power speed combination, Welsh, it's incredibly tempting to think about what Matt McLain could be. I know he hit 290 in that stretch, a couple years ago in 2023. I think this is a player that could scratch the surface of 30-30 and give you like a 260 average. And that from the shortstop position would be a huge boon. Even if it lands at 25-25, I mean, we're going to be talking about Matt McLain as, he's kind of a third-round pick next year. 25-25 shortstop, maybe it's second-round pick if that comes to fruition. So McLain is somebody that I think people have kind of forgotten about a little bit because of the injury. He's proving he's healthy. The more at-bats he gets, the better he's going to be. If he starts off slow, don't panic. To me, that's a big one. I think people might panic, too, in April. Give this guy time. He didn't play baseball for an entire season. Give him some time to come back. When he gets in full swing, I think things are going to really blow up for him. Who is your breakout shortstop this year, Welsh? And I got to tell you, this was my second choice.
Yeah, I went with Masyn Winn with the Cardinals. It's so funny. Talking with Lance when we did the breakout pitchers, he's like, man, I got all these Marlins. And then I've gone and looked, and I'm like, man, I like a lot of these Cardinals. I've got a couple Rangers as well. There's just a lot of players out of that, but there's a lot of value on it. And Masyn Winn is one of those. Last season, hit 267, 15 homers, 11 stolen bases. A lot of projections. If you go and check out the different projection systems, he's pushing into that 2020 marker. He spent some of the offseason adding some muscle, working, I believe, over a drive line and getting that bat to keep flying a little bit more. And I think that's the big key. But, the expected batting average was right there. I would love for the overall bat to just... you'd love to see him barrel more. You'd love to see him hit the ball harder, but he's not striking out. He's getting the ball in the air. He's doing the kind of CJ Abrams where I don't barrel, I don't hard hit, but I maximize launch angle, 13-degree launch angle. He's also hitting that launch angle sweet spot. That's a Mookie Betts thing with low strikeouts. The guy can run. He can fly. He's going to probably have a better opportunity to hit higher in the lineup. And I think the batting average is kind of a lock here. So I wouldn't be shocked if one of these homers or stolen bases break the 20 marker, but I think he's got a real opportunity to maybe hit both of those, hit for average, score a lot of runs, and end up being close to a top 100 player. And Masyn Winn currently is 173 on the composite ADP as the 20th shortstop. So he's a phenomenal middle infield pick that can protect you if you ended up spending a higher pick on a shortstop that maybe has some injury, injury prone, like a Corey Seager or something like that, get some stolen bases, get some homers. And if you needed to slot him in at shortstop because of some injury, he's a little bit more protection. So I just love Masyn Winn. I think he's going to jump a level and break out this year.
I do too, man. Love the player. It gives you a little bit of everything. I think he'd be very productive. Look, the Cardinals, I think, have some reasons. I know it was tough on them in the last show. They have reasons to be optimistic. If Herrera hits, if one of the other guys on this list, I don't want to blow it, starts to realize his potential. Masyn Winn, very good. I think Burleson's very solid. There's potential here to turn things around, but it's got to start happening sooner than later here. We got to really get there. Yeah. All right, let's get to the outfielders here, Welsh, and I'm just going to save everybody some time because we've got some overlap. We both have Dylan Cruz, 36th outfielder overall, 128 overall. We both have Jasson Dominguez, 38 outfielder overall, 135 overall. So I'm going to let you take the floor with these two guys because you've been talking a bunch about them all offseason, and you are the prospect guy. I know people have prospect fatigue with Jasson Dominguez. He's having a good spring, so that goes a long way. And then Dylan Cruz, a player that, once again, I think we all see the potential of. The question is he ready for the long haul of the Major League season, the pitchers he's going to face? That division is very tough. He's got the Phillies rotation is going to be tough. The Braves rotation is going to be tough. Even the Marlins, we talked about Max Meyer, Alcantara, some of these pitchers. It's going to be, I think, some tough days at the office for Dylan Cruz. But the potential of this player is another absolute star, and that is very exciting for the Nationals.
Yeah, and these are the two rookies when I was going on that little rookie thing where it's like Matt Shaw, Kristian Campbell, they got to the higher levels, a little bit more advanced, really advanced hit tools as well, and just been in systems longer. You can also add in, okay, hey, you guys are doing 2 more prospect eligible players. The nice thing about both of these guys is they had major league run. We got some production last year. They got to feel it out. They got to make adjustments. They got to spend a season with the major league club and then an off season where they're breaking down swings, they're breaking down approaches. And I really love that because I love the talent of both of these guys. Dylan Cruz specifically, I've said this a lot, ATC's projection system has him almost as a 15-30 guy already. He hit a ton at the top of the lineup. We'll see where that goes if he's hitting 1 or 2. The power potential's there. He was aggressive on the bases last year, almost a 45% hard hit rate with an under 20% K percentage. He's going to get more breaking pitches this season, but he's shown us he's a sub 20 K percentage guy at the major league level so far. So if that continues, he's going to run, he's going to score runs, and it's a little bit baked in. 128 overall, outfielder 36. But I think he can take that next step because if he becomes a 20-30 guy, watch out. And projections are a median average, are almost putting him in that standpoint. Jasson Dominguez is a little bit more argumentative for a lot of people. Dominguez has a lower cost, 135 overall, outfielder 39 on this list. But he's having a solid spring. He's hitting 250, 3 homers, and he's stolen a couple bases, has not been caught. He's going to be given the everyday role. And he was on the upper echelon of double digit barrel percentages. It was like 10 or 11, 45% hard hit rate. You love to see that. He's just got to lower the strikeout rate a bit. It was 28%, but he walks 16% of the time. If he gets on base, he's aggressive on the base paths. He's got real power in that stadium. And both of these guys, it's just, I think there could be the prospect fatigue from last year that they're not baked into the next level that they can go. And projections are not far off from Dominguez being a 2020 guy. So again, median averages, if these guys work out, you're close to 2020 Dominguez and you're close to 15-30 for Cruz. Well, if they take the next big step, which both of them batting averages are super low, you could be talking about them jumping multiple tiers and they're going outside the top 100. So as far as I think they can break out, I think their value's outside the top 100. And these are two very specific prospects that with major league playing time and different skill sets, I think both are going to break out and be valuable in fantasy. And I know you agree because we both picked them.
I do. They're so close in ADP also. Chances are you're only going to get one of them.
Yeah, and I would probably suggest only getting one of them to mitigate some risk.
That's all. I mean, you're at the turn. It's very tempting there. They're both there. Sure. What do you do? I would take Cruz, and the reason is I think the situation is easier for him. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on this Yankee team this year. They're already dealing with it, and they haven't even started the season. I think that, if he struggles at all, the fan base gets really tough. I think what the national situation is, they're just excited that the team is looking improved again. I think it's a much easier environment for a young player to have his peaks and valleys, whereas with Dominguez, I'm a little concerned. And, Dominguez did miss significant time last year with injury. That development time missed sometimes rears its ugly head. So if I could only pick one of those guys, I'd pick Cruz. But, Welsh, who would you take?
So I'm going to agree with you and take Cruz, but I want to give you the caveat that I think that Cruz is the floor play and Dominguez is the ceiling play.
That's
here.
fair.
So
that's fair.
Pending type of constructions, if maybe you've got a little bit, if you were to take a junior Caminero, there's some inherent risk, or, maybe you got some injury prone players. Cruz just might be the safer bet for baseline, where Dominguez is a little bit more volatile. But if things do click with Dominguez, I legitimately, not trying to be ridiculous about 25-25, he could be a 30-20 guy. I would not be shocked if Dominguez was a 30-20 guy. His bat has slowly progressed over time, so I don't know if he'll hit for that average, but I'm saying that's where that peak ultimately could be. So if you have a really safe roster and you want to play up, Dominguez. If you have a little bit of volatility, Cruz, but just overall without any caveats, I'd probably agree with you. And I've taken Dylan Cruz before Jasson.
All right, we're going to get to the other outfielders on our list because, again, we have some overlap there. Before we do, a quick reminder, too, when you're in your drafts, you should be cheating. That's right, to do everything you possibly can to win, just like Bill Belichick would do. The cheat sheet creator right now is available on Draft Wizard. So it's your personal guide to a perfect draft. You get league-specific rankings in there. You could choose your experts for the cheat sheet. You could choose a hybrid, too. You can have Welsh, myself, some of the CBS boys, some of the guys at Yahoo, whatever you like. You can have some of the best experts out there in one cheat sheet, or you could just use the consensus if you prefer that as well. Sync your leagues for free right now because Draft Wizard is going to be able to help you through your draft with the draft assistant. It's going to link right to your draft. It's going to recommend picks for you, and the cheat sheet creator you're going to make is going to be your guide through the entire draft from pick 1 to the last round. So FantasyPros.com/sheet. That's the place to get it. Or it's much easier. Just download the app. Draft Wizard Baseball is out there wherever you get your apps. Get it today. Sync your leagues for free and thank me later. For me, Welsh, the other outfielder I've got on my list, and this is one I was tough on this player for quite a while when he was in the Met system because I didn't see the bat. I saw the player who plays with his hair on fire. I saw a guy that I really enjoyed, a good defensive player, great, just energy level. I love it. But Pete Crow-Armstrong did not look like a major league bat to me. Then last year in the second half, he made some adjustments. And all of a sudden, things changed radically. So I was really curious to see, was that a fluke or is that going to continue this spring? Well, guess what? It's continuing this spring. 519 batting average, a 500 on base percentage, 1,000 slugging, a 1,500 OPS, and 27 at-bats so far. Now, of course, it's crazy. It's unsustainable. He's got 3 homers, 11 RBI. He's got 2 steals, too. So the stolen bases are a huge part of this combination here. So I felt good about the stolen bases, but if you're not making good contact, you can't steal first base. That's hard. In fact, you just can't do it, right? So you got to get on. You got to make contact. Now, Pete Crow-Armstrong is not only making contact, but he's making hard contact. You saw last year, he raised that OPS from 582 in the first 60 games to 736 in the second half of the year over the final 63 games. I think he is potentially one of these breakout players that we're going to look back on and go, wow, Pete Crow-Armstrong made a huge impact on fantasy in 2025. And the people that bought into the second half ended up being paid off for it. And I am finally starting to buy in because of not just the second half, the adjustments and what I'm seeing in spring too, where it's carrying over. That to me is the most important part. Now, the other guy on your outfield list is a player we've been waiting for years now. Let's talk about Jordan Walker because that's a guy who, again, should have already been up. I've compared him to Jermaine Dye before. I thought that was the kind of player he would profile like. Pete Crow-Armstrong, 142 overall at 39. Forget it. Jordan Walker, 78th outfielder overall, 293. Not even the same universe, but you think Walker could finally get things right this year.
Yeah, he's one of the lowest on this list. So if he could just avoid sprinklers are his worst enemy because he's still coming back from stepping on a sprinkler and hurting his leg. And listen, I had him as a very this is my sleeper breakout guy, and I kind of pared back on it, especially with the injury. But I just want to circle back to it because the sprinkler thing set him back. He wasn't having a great spring either. So you've got a couple negatives that are working against. But getting back and trying to put a focus on the positives because it's a very short, small moment of baseball of he misses a little bit of spring. Maybe it causes a little bit of a slow start. But overall, what we're banking on is the playing time throughout the season, their commitment to Jordan Walker. He also retooled, and he's talked a lot about this, is he's retooled his approach and his swing. And the main point about it is getting his hands in lower and shortening his swing so he's got an ability to barrel up. And he did a good job of that even in his weird stint of last season. He had an almost 10% barrel rate, which we love, 43% hard hit rate, which was an increase year over year. And he had an average exit velocity that was 2 miles per hour on average more. So those are really good. The negatives were obviously the consistent contact because his expected batting average is just 211 and he struck out 28% of the time. You can't do those. You can't have that and be successful. So what do? You have a very applicable, you shorten the swing to try to get in and attack. And the only negative, I think, at this point, take out the stupid, he hurt his leg in the sprinkler. It's the missed time to be able to work on that because it wasn't super great in spring so far. He was hitting under
Dominguez.
200.
Same thing with some of the other guys too, like Byron Buxton. How much time did he miss in development because of injuries? And that was part of the reason why he would get up there and he had flashes of brilliance in the major leagues and then struggle mightily at times in his career early on.
And I lightly say this because it could happen, of course, but this is not a season where I think the Cardinals are going to see a month of him and be like, you're going back down to AAA. What are they playing for? They're trying to trade Arenado. They're going to play him the season. They're going to play it out. And I think the work is going to catch up. And what Jordan Walker provides you is 30-plus home run potential. That's not a question to me. I know he had 16 in 2023, but like I think 25-10 is on the table for Jordan Walker. If the batting average can get up into that 250 range, these are all things I think that can happen. So even though I think there's some big question marks that are working against him, the injury, the missed time in spring training, with the lack of success in spring training, I want to hold to all the work he did in the offseason and some of his underlying data that is going to click for a very young player too. Just want to throw, he's 22 years old. There are guys that are being drafted that are older than him still, that I think this is going to click this season. I'm hopeful it's early, so this breakout makes sense from the drafting perspective, but kind of hold tight. I think it's going to work out, and he is my outfield breakout.
All right, Welsh, let's go through your 3 starters and your relief pitcher here for your all-breakout team of 2025.
All right, if you've listened to me this offseason, these should be no shocker to you whatsoever. Number 1 breakout, Spencer Schwellenbach, because of course, talked about the 5 pitches, 10% usage, good whiff rates, low walk. And I think the split finger, if he uses it even more with the setup on the fastball, people will be like, oh, the fastball's not great. Well, we need the fastball to set the other stuff up. That he could not just jump from, he is SP 25, 91 overall, but I think he can be a top 15 starting pitcher. He's a must-have, and I think he is going to break out. And I at least have been consistent about this since November. On the first episodes we did, I have been talking about Schwellenbach. That's my guy. Number 2 is Spencer Jones. You could argue like the breakout kind of started to happen. He had this like huge start, and then he just like plummeted and failed. But
Jared Jones, not Spencer Jones.
I'm sorry, we were talking about Spencer Jones
Yankee
before.
Prospects. We were talking about Spencer Jones before.
We were. I'm sorry, Jared Jones of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, exactly, not Spencer.
Although Joey Gallo's pitching now, so maybe Spencer. And Jones.
Spencer Jones was a two-way player at Vanderbilt, so he used to pitch. So it all comes together. Jared Jones of the Pittsburgh Pirates had a really great start, so that's the start of the breakout. Then completely tailed off, and that has put him at SP 43, 139 overall. That fastball and slider comboed were like, I think he was like one of the only pitchers with 130 stuff plus on a slider and a fastball. I think those are things are going to connect with the changeup, being able to throw off speed, multiple pitches, stay healthy for the season, and he's going to take a big next step. That Pittsburgh Pirate rotation is going to be disgusting. Bubba Chandler gets in there, and I think Jared Jones is going to take that next big step. Strikeouts are going to go up to another degree, but I really think that fastball slider combo, the consistency of a full season and innings, he's going to take that next jump. And then I talk about it a lot, Brandon Pfaadt. Brandon Pfaadt is SP 54, 181. One of the big things we've looked at is he had a full run better expected ERA than his actual ERA. It was closer to a 3.5 ERA. That sweeper is definitively awesome. He struggles against left-handers. We talked about that, I think, with maybe Lance or when I had Eno on. But like at the end of the day, I love that the sinker has worked well in setting up the sweeper. And the four seam is but if he can start throwing that changeup more, I think he could take a next step. ERA estimators are telling us a different story. I think strikeouts can go up, walks are going down. There's a lot of run support, and it's a really great rotation with better support on the back end as well. I think Brandon Pfaadt, I think Schwellenbach could move into elite territory. I think Jared Jones could move into being like a top 25, 30. Brandon Pfaadt isn't quite as aggressive, but I think Pfaadt can go from this like irrelevant SP 5 or 6 to being like an SP 3 on teams and being near the top 100.
That's a big impact. I think when you draft was a 5 and they become a 3, that's a big impact.
And then finally, my closer. This is actually kind of a higher ranked player, but I've talked about it a lot. I love Andres Munoz with the Seattle Mariners, and what I think the breakout is. Again, I don't know if you could argue he's ever had a breakout. He's been solid. He missed some time. There was questions like last year, was he going to lose his job? I think Andres Munoz is going to be one of the best closers in baseball this year. He's toying around with this kick changeup, disgusting fastball slider combination with one of the best rotations in baseball. They just need run support so you can get to him. If they can improve that, he's going to have those opportunities. I think he's going to close it down. He's healthier. And if he does add that kick changeup, it's going to be devastating. He is closer 9 at 110 overall, but I legitimately think he can be a top 5 closer. So this is a breakout that I think he moves into the next tier of close. I mean, people are taking like Raisel Iglesias over him. Like, I think you'll be deciding like Andres Munoz or Edwin Diaz. So I think Andres Munoz is going to break out, as well as Spencer Schwellenbach, Jared Jones, and Brandon Pfaadt.
That was my guy from a couple years ago. I love the Jared Jones call too. Another player that I remember last April, May, we were looking at each other on leading off every day going, man, is this ever going to end? Like, he is just so good. And then, health.
I had him on.
Head.
I did a bunch of like NFBC like DCs and stuff, and Bogman was like, "Holy crap, you have him everywhere." I happened to have drafted him in so many spots as well as Skeens in a few, and he was part of the tail down, unfortunately, because he just didn't pan out on the back half of the season. But it was a great early start.
It was. All right, 3 pitchers for me and a closer, and then we'll call it a day here. Gavin Williams was on my sleeper team. Guess what? He's on my breakout team too. This is the only overlap player that I have from that list. Because I'm buying in. I told you the bullpen's so good. I think they can bridge him to wins, even if innings get limited on a start-by-start basis, which I don't know how much they're going to be at this stage. I think he is going to be able to get to 140, 50 at some point this season. But, the Guardians are in it, and they're going to be competing. And I think they're going to find clever ways to continue on. But I still think he could be absolutely fantastic. Again, he is dominating this spring. Unbelievable. Next on my list, Ryan Pepiot. Pepiot is going to be in this rotation. I don't care if it's 5 guys, 6 guys. Pepiot has pitched well enough for me to be in that rotation. He was a huge piece that came over from the Dodgers a few years ago to trade. And to me, this is your rebuilding this rotation, right? You moved on from Springs. McClanahan's coming back. I think Pepiot is going to end up being potentially the number 2 starter in this rotation when all is said and done. I think he's very consistent. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's very unfazed too, which I like. He's very in control of himself on the mound. I like the demeanor. I like all the little things about Ryan Pepiot. And of course, we know statistically when you have a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk rate, you're going to have success at the major league level because you're not walking guys, you're not putting yourself in bad positions, and that's going to be huge for Ryan Pepiot in this rotation. Next up, Will Warren. Now, last year, Luis Heel was not somebody people were thinking was going to be a big part of the Yankee rotation when ended up being a Rookie of the Year kind of season for him. Now, obviously, we know, unfortunately, injury is going to stop the beginning of, or at least slow down the beginning of his season, but Will Warren is not a guy that I had on my radar, and I've watched him pitch this spring, and whatever he's doing right now with the pitch mix, has been really good because he is up to 15 innings, 16 strikeouts, 3 walks, and the Yankees have no choice right now. Will Warren has to break camp, I think, in this rotation, and he is going to have to make 20 starts for the Yankees here, and I think that's going to be very impactful because there is a scenario where the Yankees hold it all together and guys like Will Warren perform well, just like, guess what? Last year, when you didn't have Garrett Cole, Luis Heel stepped into that rotation. So Will Warren has an opportunity to do that this season. So keep him on your radar. He is going very late, 440. So he is free. Okay, the 130th pitcher off the board. Williams, Pepiot, Warren, and my relief pitcher, not a closer yet, but Ben Joyce is fun. He throws 175 million miles an hour, and I'm okay with that out of the bullpen more than I am with a starting pitcher. Kenley Jansen's 37 years old. I think at some point somebody's going to come knocking for Kenley Jansen to help them as a veteran bullpen presence. And then Ben Joyce is going to get a look at that closer spot, and kind of like Mason Miller last year, who's just striking out everybody. I feel like Ben Joyce can be that. In the meantime, hold, save leagues, big strikeout potential, it's all there. But I think at some point he does get a crack at that closer job, and I think he is going to be a very intriguing guy potentially for the last few months of the season. And when you need saves, strikeouts, all the stuff a guy like Ben Joyce can give you, at that ADP that he's going right now, which is the 261st player off the board, that's an intriguing piece to just kind of add to the bench because I think eventually he could have a huge breakout and end up being a guy you never know. 37 years old, Kenley Jansen. We'll see how long he is for this season too. You never know. But those are our guys for all Breakout 2025. We want to know your name, so drop your names below. Subscribe to the channel here, FantasyPros MLB, trying to get to 25,000 by opening day, and we can do it with your help. And remember, when you subscribe and drop a comment below, you might win a John Smoltz jersey. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. Please don't touch the John Smoltz bowl anymore. That'll do it for us. I'm Joey P. That's the Welsh. We'll see you next time, kids.
Peace.